What's going on, guys? My name is Blue, and welcome to part 3. Part 3 to my EBN/EBTPE guide video. So, it's been a year since I posted my early bag guide part 2. It's truly because A, I wanted a break, and B, I didn't want to just post something new immediately. An important thing to note about this video, this is part 3 to the trilogy so far of guides for early bag neutral and early bag paths ending. So because of that, you're gonna need to watch parts 1 and part 2 to understand what is going on in part 3. I'll not be covering anything else I've already covered, unless it matters to this part. So if you haven't seen part 1 or part 2, go check them out, link in the description. But yeah, in this video I plan to talk about, first off, the fact we're now in version 1.3 and how that it affects the run. So I'll be covering that, as well as some new strategies that were found, as well as some corrections. There's been some new optimizations, new things we don't do anymore, especially in part 2. Part 2 at the time was really fresh, so we were really invested to try and get as much info as we could, and some info is now really outdated because it doesn't really save time. So that's what the video is about today, is to make sure everything's up to speed. It will cover everything we now do in the runs itself, EBN and EBTPE. The way I'm going to structure this video, I have a list on my computer. It's a list of basically every key point I want to talk about. And it does jump cut to different areas, which again, this is why I say, go watch part 1, then go watch part 2, and then see this one. If you need any more help when it comes to these videos, there's obviously the speedrun.com website where you have the resources tab, which allows you to have the splits and the early bag save file. And you also have the speedrunning Discord, which will all be linked in the description. There's plenty of friendly people on there, and if you have any more questions on the speedruns itself, you can happily ask them. Some of the information I don't even know, so I give them my kudos. And furthermore, I will be crediting everyone who found these new strats and optimizations as the video goes along. Without further ado, I think we should just get straight into it and get to our first topic. The first thing you'll notice is the disclaimer check, which happens when you first boot up the game. If you've seen it once, you'll get a new text window in your save file directory called disclaimercheck.sav. Once you have that, just keep it. When the disclaimer check pops up, all you gotta just press C and it goes away. If you do have the disclaimer check removed, then you have to wait for it to finish, which is gonna take forever. So you're better off just, when you boot the game, keep disclaimercheck.sav in your save file directory, hit Z, and you can just skip it. Brilliant stuff. This is something that's not really important to early bag, but it is something to keep in mind. So usually when you do a normal run without early bag, fresh save file, you usually start on begin game. But 1.3 added this screen, which is difficulty select, which means the actual time start now is on easy. Since we all play on easy mode, there's no reason to play on normal mode for the record. I don't know why you would play on normal. So yeah, if you would start your timer, you would start on easy like this, and it runs through just as normal. Because we are in early bag and we already have a save file sorted, we haven't got to worry about this. You can literally just, like before, open your splits, start the timer, and get walking, which, is fantastic. Two very important things in the first 2 rooms that I do want to discuss. The first very important thing, if you remember from part 1, you will remember that I said I was never going to do any missing poster strats. This was because, at the time, to do a missing poster bag setup, it was very finicky. And, to be fair, nowadays, it's still a bit finicky to do the way I was doing it before, as you can see. Bag setup to the missing poster, if you're doing it the normal way, like you normally do with a non-droppable item. So, for the purposes of part 1 and part 2, I said, no missing poster strats, way too difficult. Well, thanks to Madonna, this was actually proven to be more reliable than it actually is, it's required a bit of a different setup. This one setup actually fixed the entirety of Missing Poster, and now because you can't drop Missing Poster, you are now like guaranteed to never lose your item when it comes to bag setups. You're never going to accidentally eat the item or drink the item or drop it or whatever. So you would still open your menu, you would still go to item, go to Missing Poster, drop the Missing Poster. But at this point, instead of doing the Z and C press, which is possible, but it's just very finicky fast, like that, you actually want to do this. If you guys remember from part 1, you know about the control and space buffer, which allows you to do stuff in Events 1, it allows you to bypass triggers a little bit to get a bit of a head start, like in Flowey's introduction cutscene. Well, funnily enough, if you go to this screen, and then just tap Control Space once, it gives you the state immediately. And surprisingly enough, it is very consistent to do. So yeah, you can see like how consistent it is. Like, I now can get the Missing Poster bag pretty much 9 times out of 10. Which, because of that optimization now, Missing Poster has become the MVP, put it that way. So now we haven't got to worry about getting lemonade, we haven't got to worry about constantly having a backup item in our inventory, just in case the cloak's a little bit thirsty. Now, we actually have a way to keep a non-droppable item in our inventory, and do consistent bag setups Missing Poster, which is by far, I think, the biggest change so far in the category, at least in my opinion. And with this trick in mind, if you guys remember the annoying Flowey bag, how, like, you get to a minute in, goes to the fly cutscene, try and back the fly cutscene, you fuck it up. Well, restart. Well, now, it's possible to fuck up in the first 5 seconds of the run, because of a new strat found called, oh boy, Frogget Skip. Frogget Skip was found by Angel Karu, so again, big shout out to Angel. This strat sucks. So the idea of it, if you guys remember Soosberg Skip. Soosberg Skip is essentially what we're going to be doing, but as an up bag, which makes it even more fucking fun, right? Frogget Skip is really difficult, and this is why it's in part 3, because I do not expect any new runner to be attempting Frogget Skip, okay? Like, this skip is the bane of my existence. Like, you shouldn't be doing this skip at all in your first runs. Once you have experience in the category, then you move on to stuff like this. As you know, in casual play, you would run to this room, get the Frogget encounter, and just, you know, spare it, watch through the cutscene, that whole shtick. And then you would walk on through and do the whole ruin section. Which I believe is in entirety. The whole ruin section is roughly 35 seconds. What Frogget Skip allows us to do is, go figure, it skips the first Frogget. If you nail it first try, you're saving around 5 to 6 seconds, which is baffling. As you can see by my early bag neutral splits, my old split used to be on ruins 35, now it's 30. Another key point as well, before I get into that, how to do the skip, because it's like Soosberg Skip, it does mean that once the skip is done, you are going to be invisible for the rest of ruins. Which means, A, you're going to have to get a feel for where you are, in terms of where Clover is, and B, you're going to have to try and do ruins without seeing a character, which, if you get lost during that, you're kind of screwed, you have to reset. But regardless, this is Frogget Skip. I'll show it in fast motion first, just so you guys get an idea. There it is. So as you can see, I just did Frogget Skip, and because I skipped the trigger, Clover's now invisible. So at this point, you gotta get a feel for where Clover is, and essentially the rest of the ruins without knowing where Clover is. You see, right now I'm lost. There I am. I got a little bit lost there, I was unfortunate. Now you've seen Frogget Skip in full, here's the idea of it. So, visually, the trigger's around there. That's where the trigger is. You need to first do a back setup, which we all know, using the now new control space method to get it consistently every time. And then you want to prepare for an up bag, like you would do with Delve Skip, like you would do with the auto walk setup, like you would do with the Flowey bag after Delve. so on and so on. You need to keep holding up this point. You're always holding up during the entirety of this point. So once you start holding up, never let go until you get past forward skip. Once you back the trigger, which by the way, you're going to have to do a very quick ZX press. Like, it's going to be pretty much instant. Like that. Once you get that part down, you need to run up as far as you can, and then as quick as you can, while still holding up, open the bag again. You have to open the bag again and immediately close it. The worst case scenario is that if you do it too early. If you do it too early, you will not get the skip. Like that. As you can see, I'm kind of struggling now because I haven't practiced. There we go. Take it at your own time. Do not pressure yourself to do it if you're new to it. Because now we want to be keeping missing poster, after you do forget skip, you want to make sure once you're walking up, you quickly open your menu, go to bag, and put missing poster in the bag. That way then, when we get out of ruins, we'll have the missing poster with us and it won't leave our inventory. So make sure after you do forget skip, you quickly, as quick as you can, just put missing poster in your bag. So even though missing poster does fly away, you can still see if it goes to my bag, that missing poster is still in my bag. At this point though, don't go here, don't get to here and open the bag and take it like this. Keep it in your bag until it gets to the flowery cutscene. What we're going to be doing is we're going to be doing the flowery skip like we were doing in part 1, but adding a few extra steps just to get the missing poster back in our bag. If you guys remember the flowery bag, which you've seen in part 1, just like that. Literally all we're going to be doing, the extra bit of steps, is just once the bag is open, we're just going to be hitting right, grab the missing poster of the bag, closing the bag, walking off. That's all we're going to be doing. So in fast motion, it looks like this. There you go. And because of that, we now have missing poster in the inventory, ready for when we do some skips. So that's the only little micro observation. Voiceover Blue here. Little reminder, if you do flybag afterwards, don't hit C. The reason why I can have my menu here is because I saved the debug mode, which you can't do in a speedrun. Just so I can show off the missing posters in my inventory now. But if you're doing a run and you do the flowery skip with the missing poster in the inventory, don't hit C unless you run into encounter throws or interact or something. Otherwise, you will soft lock. Also, in terms of 1.3, there is a new Dalv sprite, which the cloak sprite looks really fucking cool in my opinion. I really like it. Doesn't really affect the run, but it looks cool. I guess whilst we're here though, I should also mention, because of the new resprites and new animations, especially on Martin's end, there's actually free natural time save in neutral. I believe Madonna clocked like 9 seconds, approximately 9 seconds. So, as long as you're playing consistently, like your last run, you will get natural time save. I know it's pure for neutral, I am not sure about TPE. Do keep that in mind, because we're in 1.3, there is natural time save from faster animations. A funny strat coming up. Vanilla Bag. Speaking of useless strats, this is technically a strat. However, it is pointless. It is completely pointless, there's no need to do this strat at all. I'll show it off in fast motion. I'm not even going to explain how to do it. This is how my Theta, who shout out to Theta. I'm not going to explain how to do it, but this is it, essentially. That's essentially it. As you can see, it's way too easy to softlock yourself doing this quote-unquote strategy. Or just being like that. Like, that's how you meant to do it. But it's really easy to softlock yourself. I do not recommend doing that strategy at all. You're just way better off just running through the room, getting the encounter, fleeing it, and then moving onward. Again, there's a bit of time save here, strictly because in old runs we would do this instead. We would run straight, run into the lemonade room, grab a lemonade, and then get ready to do the corn maze skip. But because now we have missing poster, we don't need lemonade. Corn maze skip hasn't changed one bit. It's exactly the same as before. Again, just remembering to use missing poster instead. Everyone remembers Roarum skip, right? I'll show off Roarum skip first. Roar and skip is a bitch, and funnily enough, this skip actually got outdated by, again, Angel Kaoru. So here's how it's Angel Kaoru. I'll show off Roar and skip first. This is what we used to do. So that's what we used to do to get out of this room and get to here. Well, Angel Kaoru found what we now call Roar and skip. Because it skips the need to do Roar and skip. So here's how it's done. Instead of watching the cutscene like normal, we're actually going to bag the cutscene trigger. Which, roughly, the cutscene trigger is here, as you can see. Like, Clover is pretty much right next to the switch. So, like you would normally do, you do it instead of, we're actually going to bag this trigger, so we're going to do it bag setup, just like so. And then, it's kind of like an up bag to me because of the way I set it up. But the way I do it is, I hold upright, tap down to get onto bag, and then whilst I'm running, I hit Z on the trigger, and then we're going to mash away through Delph's dialogue. Just like that. So we go down, we smash through Delph's dialogue. So once Delph's dialogue is mashed away, all you want to do is you want to get. You may have noticed the bridge, the broken bridge that is there. All you want to do is hold down right for a little bit and then hold upright to get yourself onto the top right corner of the bridge, like that. So once you're in this position, all you have to do is just run around the room, as in like hold right and just mash the left button until you get a random encounter. Once you get that random encounter and the screen turns black, then you can close the bag, flee the enemy and hold right, and it skips the need to do Roar and skip. So that's how easy it literally is. There it is. Close the bag, flee, hold right. Boom.
Bag, flee, hold right. Boom.
That's it. And that skips the need to do Roar and skip. So you actually have a Roar and skip now in this game. Thanks to Angel. So that is really, really cool. Dark skip hasn't changed, the flowery bag hasn't changed, and technically the auto walk setup hasn't changed either. But Angel has found a somewhat easier way or different way to get the auto walk setup. I did have the footage for this from the Spirit in Discord I was going to show off in this video, but the audio balancing was horrendous on my end, so I'm not going to show it in this video, the different setup for auto walk setup. But if you want to see it, go check out Angel Kaoru on the Spirit in Discord. Also, I'd like to apologize because afterwards, for the rest of this video, the game audio is going to be doubled because I forgot to mute my desktop audio. So I apologize for the rest of the video now. The game audio is going to be doubled, so sorry guys. So whilst we're walking, we're going to be talking about the next quote-unquote optimization, which is the installment top bag. It's actually proven to be faster. Again, this was found by Angel Kaoru. Pray to God you don't get a soft lock. Unfortunately, the soft lock still can happen, which, if it happens, it's fun. It didn't, thankfully. I forget how much time this actually saves. I think it saves 0.2, which, again, is very little. If you want to optimize as much as you can, you want to go for this trick. But if you want to get a run done, you're better off just doing it the normal way, which, if you guys remember from part 1, the normal way is to just go out of bounds and walk out the room like this. But what you can actually do instead, if you're really fancy, is you can do a bag setup, just like so, and then you want to grab the trigger and bag it. There you go. And that's what it looks like. So, yeah, like, that's the new optimization. It does save 0.2 seconds, I believe. But, again, like, for it to properly save time, you have to, like, nail it. You can't just, like, auto-bag it like this. because that wastes time. You literally have to, as quick as you can, open the bag and get it first try. If you're more comfortable just going out of bounds, just do it out of bounds. It's a lot easier if you're not comfortable with that strategy. Alright, and we're on to the next new development. This is called Downbridge. Downbridge is, as you may expect, it involves the bridge, and it involves going down. Who would have thunk? So the way we used to do the bridge section before was we would run through the room, watch the Marlin cutscene, which again is faster now because of the 1.3 update. Phew! We'd hold up right here to get to the top, and then just run through like this, running through both walls, and that would be it. Well, thanks to our little friend, the control space buffer, there's a thing we can do called Downbridge, and Downbridge was discovered by Angel Kaoru once again. The whole idea of Downbridge is honestly really simple. The fact we didn't think of this for a while was actually pretty baffling. The way you do Downbridge is once you get close to the end of this room, you want to start control space buffering until the screen starts turning black, and when the screen starts turning black, just tap down. That's it.
That's it.
So now when you start the cutscene, Chloe is now sliding down instead of right. Which means now all you gotta do is just hold right. And that's it. It's carefully tied to your bridge, you don't have to go through the two collisions. And that does save a lot of time. I think it saves, a second or something, probably? Probably something like second-ish. So, yeah, that's Downbridge. Very, very simple strategy. I think even people in part 1 can do Downbridge if they really wanted to. Pro tip, apparently, when you're doing this room, you want to be holding up at all times until you get to the mark trigger. Once you're at the mark trigger, then you can move up and do this. Make sure you're just holding up, because if you are in a different spot, like if you tap left at random points like this, I believe, yep, I'm soft locked. If you just hold up, you're gonna be okay. If you are like, I don't know, here, or literally anywhere apart from just holding up, after this cutscene ends, you can't move. And you're completely soft locked. Do not stim and accidentally hit left or right, because you will just soft lock there. It was something I didn't talk about in part 1 because I didn't even know it existed. Because in that room I always held up anyway. Okay, so now in dudes. I'm going to do this room the same as normal. And this room is what changes. So, essentially what we do in this room now. The way we used to do this room is you would skip voice dialogue, save the game, and then you would bag this trigger here. Bag this trigger, close the bag, and you would get a head start running into the room, because usually you would stop. If you remember part 1, you know about the setup already. I do need to fix my save file, because I realized that I did save there, so give me one quick second to fix my save file. 76. What the fuck is going on? Like I was gonna say, before we saw that funny little quirk. We're essentially going to be bagging the flowering trigger, which is roughly around there. You can line it up with this spike. And the idea is, we're going to be doing something similar to, there's 2 ways you can do it, personally. You can have it auto bagging like this, to get a text box on screen, or you can do a Pop-Tart skip variant, which, if you do it well, it looks like that, which does save a little bit more time. You can actually use this text box as a pseudo bag. So instead of needing to bag the trigger to get the free head start, all you have to do is just hold right, and then once the cutscene's going on, just hold space. There you go. You hold space, and it works as a pseudo bag setup. And it gives you the head start as well. Okay, so the next new optimization is Doombug. Usually, this is how it eventually starts. When I was first running EBCPE, I would skip the first Doombug. So you just run up here, run through this wall, run through this wall. Which, at the time, yes, it did eat up a lot of time, but it prevented an encounter spawning in this room, because as you know, for random encounters to be in effect, at least one scripted encounter has to be in play. Madonna, when she came into the room, just naturally went to the Doombird and fleed it. Which, again, if you don't fuck up the flee like I did just then, that was delicious. Saves a lot more time in this room. But again, you are likely to get an encounter, which wasn't, like right there, wasn't the best. There's been a way to get a balance of both sides where you still skip the first Doombird and save as much time as possible. Which I didn't realize you can do until way later, is just go up here. You know, pass through one collision wall and then you can just run to the other side. Which is around the same time as getting the Doombird encounter and fleeing it. So that way then, you skip the first Doombird, you're guaranteed the next room to not get an encounter. Another little micro optimization. If you guys remember how we did this normally, we would bag tumbleweeds, leave the room, and then just run straight through, full clear the tumbleweeds, walk out of collision here, run down, and hit the corner. That was how we used to do it. By the way, we go up here to skip the scripted encounter, which is just clever. But it was actually proven. It was proven here that there was actually a optimization which is way faster than just running through the room. And literally, it's this simple. When you walk into the room, go on the bridge, walk out of bounds, and just go down this way. And by doing it this way, it saves 0.2 seconds. And it's way easier to do. It's just go out of bounds at the bridge instead. And yeah, you can literally just skip the tumbleweeds that way. Which again, saves 0.2 seconds. Which, funnily enough, is the exact same as if you were to do Taskballweed, which I will not be covering in this video, because it's in the name why it's called Taskballweed. But if you do want to see what Taskballweed is, you can ask anyone on the Spirit Discord. And Taskballweed, even in a normal run, does save 0.2 seconds. Sniping early bag, we haven't got to worry about Taskballweed. We don't talk about Taskballweed here. And I believe the rest of Dunes is identical to how it was in Part 1. And continuing into Part 2, it's also the same until we get to the Steamworks store. As you guys know from Part 2, the Pacifist Steamworks store was fine because there was a cutscene which fixed the problem we had with Neutral Steamworks store. But if you guys need a reminder of the issue we're having with Neutral Steamworks store, first off, if you were to enter the cutscene normally, you would soft lock. Because, you know, that's just fantastic. And then furthermore, if you bag the trigger to prevent the soft lock, there was a camera issue. Because the Neutral Steamworks door won't allow you to go inside until the camera is fixed back on Clover. As you can see, if I try and move, I can't get into the door because the camera's not fixed on Clover. When Part 2 came out, we couldn't figure out a way to, like, somewhat reliably get the camera to consistently fix on Clover. And to be fair, it's still kind of like that today, but there is a better optimization, which I'm going to talk about now, that I didn't do in Part 2, which was... I look at Part 2 now, it comes to that door, and I still cringe at it, because I was like, what the fuck was I thinking? You still back the trigger, you still, you know, wait for it's going to end. But this time, you want to stick close to the door, instead of being all the way out there. And then, once the camera tries to pound on Clover, you just want to mash up and down, wiggle it. And eventually, if you get enough, like right there, it fixes it. So, that's the idea. Alright, now it's Pacifist Steamworks. A little bit of a, iron out here. Because the way I used to do this, optimization was, again, a little bit silly. So I just want to correct it in this video right now. So, yeah. In terms of Pepto-Bismol skip from Part 2, I used to skip Soroba in a really dumb way, and I don't know why I did this in part 2 when there's a much simpler method to do it. The way I used to do it was like that, where you'd bag the cutscene and then move into Mortlet, or into Saroba, sorry. But that's just really weird, and it can get pretty fucky. Like, you can literally just do this. Go out of bounds and enter the door this way, and it works the same. So I don't know why I did that. In hindsight. I don't know why. I will say now, when you are running EBN or EBCPE, when you get to the Steamworks switch, get another copy of Undertale Yellow opened, ready to go, because we are going to be dropping Auto Walk in both categories. And I'll explain the EBN part of it later, because you're probably really confused right now. Why are we doing this in EBN if we're taking Auto Walk towards the end? You might already have the idea what's going on. So yeah, neutral Steamworks. So yeah, this is how I used to do it. Auto bag, and then I would linger around here like you would do in normal. Up, right, down, left. Which, like, yeah, it does work. But there was something I completely forgot about when I was doing the video. You have auto walk. You can auto walk through collision. And that includes the door. That includes the door. So literally, instead of just waiting around for access show for no reason, when you back the trigger, just tap up at the door, and once you see the switch turn in black, down left. That's it. That's the obvious I should have clocked, but I didn't. As you can see, it looks like this. That's it. That observation I missed out on my last run. So thank you, Madonna, for figuring that out. And again, the same can be said Pacifist. The only difference is that where the cursing trigger is. Like, that's it. It's up, down, left. Boom. Done. Sorted. Again, one little micro optimization which made this a lot easier. You don't need to back trigger. That's it. You just don't need to bag it at all. You can literally just walk up. Wait for the guy to show up. 1, 2, 3. No, and move forward. You don't actually need to bag trigger. There's no need to bag trigger at all. The only real difference with Pacifist is I have to auto mash a little bit because there's a lot of dialogue. You can see. Like, look at all this dialogue. And then when you get to around here, then you hit no, and then you walk through. There's no need to bag that, so ignore part said don't bag the trigger, just run in like that. That is something I actually forgot to talk about. I say there's nothing here, but the way I'm running through this room is a lot quicker. That is one thing that is different from the part 2 video. That sets up for Axis Chase 2 skip in neutral was also found with Madonna. I forgot to mention that. So yeah, bag, here, bag, walk off. A lot easier. A lot quicker. Just remember again, once you get to the end of the room, and you're in the trigger to go to the next room, hold space. So you get your menu back for this part of the skip. If you're in Pacifist here, pop throw skip is still mandatory, but I'm in neutral, so it's fine. If you're doing Pacifist at this point, you still need to drop Auto Walk at the greenhouse save point, which that hasn't changed. But the key thing I want to talk about specifically now is neutral, because if you guys remember, in neutral, when things were first discovered, we used to take the auto walk state all the way to the end of the game. But now we don't do that. And we still have that second Undertale Yellow open. We'll be dropping auto walk soon, but not until after the very last skip in neutral, which I don't think I covered in my last video. But it looks like that. So yeah, that's the ID skip. But yeah, at this point we would move up, and then you hold space here to hit the save point, close the game, reopen the game, and you continue run from here and drop auto walk. and the game at this point basically becomes neutral, the standard neutral. The reason why we do this now is because of the whole pixel perfect grabs. The issue we had with that is because, like, yes, if we do get past the mixing room with auto walk still intact, it does make the last portion of the game until Flowey a lot easier. But the thing is, the pixel perfect grabs are so finicky and take so long to set up that you're just losing time. And it became very apparent that doing pixel perfect grabs was not worth it anymore in terms of time saved. So it unfortunately got dropped until we somehow, and I don't think it's ever going to happen unless it 1.4 surprises us. If we somehow find a way to get pixel perfect grabs more consistently and more efficiently to get to get as close to doing it normally as we can, then it would become time safe. But right now it's just not. Keep this in mind, you would drop auto walk here, and you would then continue the rest of the run as a neutral run. Yeah, to my knowledge, that is everything I want to talk about in terms of the new strats for EBN and EBTP. Well, I hope you guys did enjoy the video. I'm glad I actually managed to brush on some of the new strats and new tactics for the run. And overall, I'm just very happy right now because we're now caught up. We're back up to date. I don't know when I'm going to post this video, but honestly, I'm just glad that we managed to get everything covered. Unless now we find some new strats or 1.4 releases and then some new quirks, I'll be sure to make little parts and update you guys on the EBN/EBTP grind. But yeah, right now I'm really happy with this trilogy. So thank you guys for watching. I appreciate you all so much. And yeah, I'll perhaps catch you either on my streams or in the normal reruns. So yeah, until then, it's been Blue, signing off for now.